What if I told you that the beer in your fridge right now might contain ingredients banned in Europe? Or that some of Canada's most popular brands have been quietly watering down their alcohol content while keeping prices sky high? I'm about to expose 9 Canadian beer brands that are fooling millions of drinkers across the country. From hidden corn syrups and pesticide contamination to hormone disrupting chemicals in every can, what you're about to discover will completely change your next trip to the LCBO or beer store. But here's the good news. I'll also reveal 2 Canadian craft breweries that are doing it right, using real ingredients with zero shortcuts. And if you stick around until the end, I'll teach you exactly how to spot quality beer in any Canadian liquor store so you never get fooled again. Let's expose what's really in your pint. Number 9. Molson Canadian. The irony is almost too perfect. Molson Canadian markets itself as Canada's beer, draped in red and white, synonymous with hockey nights and national pride. But here's what Molson Coors doesn't advertise in those patriotic commercials. Molson Canadian contains corn syrup as a primary fermentable sugar instead of traditional malted barley, although the recipe can vary by market. This is the same sweetener you'd find in processed sodas and cheap candy. It's dramatically cheaper than proper brewing barley, and that's the only reason it's there. The corn used is typically genetically modified, sourced from industrial farms that rely heavily on chemical pesticides. Independent laboratory testing has detected glyphosate residue in major Canadian beer brands. Glyphosate is the active ingredient in Roundup herbicide, classified by the World Health Organization's International Agency for Research on Cancer as a probable human carcinogen. Canadian juries have awarded damages to individuals who developed non-Hodgkin lymphoma after glyphosate exposure. You're not just drinking beer, you're drinking traces of weed killer with every sip. The brewing process also uses hop extract rather than whole hops, eliminating the natural antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds that make hops beneficial. You're getting chemical bitterness without health benefits, but perhaps most troubling is the packaging. Those aluminum cans are lined with epoxy resins containing BPA, bisphenol A known endocrine disruptor. Health Canada has expressed concern about BPA exposure, particularly for vulnerable populations. Studies link BPA to fertility problems, obesity, diabetes, and hormone-related cancers. The warmer the can sits or the closer it gets to its best before date, the more BPAs can leach into your beer. So when you're paying for Canadian heritage and national pride, you're actually getting corn syrup, pesticide residue, synthetic hop extracts, and hormone disruptors. Not exactly what those Rocky Mountain commercials promised. Number 8. Labatt Blue. Labatt Blue is the other pillar of Canadian beer identity. It's been around since 1951 and millions of Canadians consider it a staple. But Labatt Blue has secrets that don't appear on the label. Like Molson Canadian, Labatt Blue uses corn as an adjunct grain to reduce costs while maintaining the appearance of traditional brewing. This isn't heritage brewing, this is industrial cost-cutting on a massive scale. The corn is typically genetically modified, and testing has found similar glyphosate contamination across major lager brands produced in Canada. Labatt Blue may contain caramel coloring to maintain that consistent golden appearance. Specifically, this is Class 3 or Class 4 caramel color, produced through ammonia processing. Class 4 caramel coloring has been linked to 4-methylimidazole, also written as 4-MEI, which animal studies have associated with cancer risk. California requires Proposition 65 warnings for significant 4-MEI exposure. Canada has no such disclosure requirement. The beer has been alleged to use isinglass for clarification. That's collagen derived from fish swim bladders. Most vegetarians, vegans, and people with fish allergies have no idea they're consuming fish derivatives with every bottle. Canadian labeling laws classify this as a processing aid, so there's no requirement to disclose it. Labatt Blue is now owned by Anheuser-Busch InBev, the world's largest brewing conglomerate. The Canadian heritage branding remains, but the priorities have shifted to global profit margins and cost optimization. Traditional brewing methods that defined Labatt's early reputation have been replaced by industrial efficiency. For a beer that wraps itself in the Canadian flag, you're drinking GMO corn, fish bladder derivatives, cancer-linked coloring agents, and pesticide traces. That's Belgium-based corporate brewing disguised as Canadian tradition. Number 7. Coors Light. Coors Light dominates Canadian taps and coolers with its Rocky Mountain spring water marketing. The reality is far less refreshing than those pristine alpine images suggest. Coors Light contains corn syrup during fermentation, providing cheap fermentable sugars that replace traditional malted barley. The result is a thin, watery body that you've probably noticed. The beer also uses rice as an adjunct, further diluting any traditional beer character. Rice produces fewer flavor compounds and is purely a cost-saving measure. Laboratory testing on Coors products has detected glyphosate contamination from pesticide-treated corn and barley. Residue levels in popular American light beers have been measured in parts per billion, with consumption accumulating over time in your system. The aluminum cans use BPA-containing epoxy liners. Canadian studies have found that BPA can leach from can linings into beverages, especially when stored at warmer temperatures or past optimal freshness. BPA mimics estrogen in your body and has been linked to reproductive disorders, metabolic syndrome, and increased cancer risk. Coors Light also uses hop extract instead of whole hops. You're missing the natural compounds, oils, and beneficial properties that whole cone hops provide. What remains is isolated chemical bitterness designed to give the impression of hops without the substance. The Rocky Mountain spring water marketing emphasizes purity, but the ingredient list tells a different story. Corn syrup, rice, glyphosate traces, synthetic hop extracts, and hormone-disrupting kin linings. That's not mountain freshness. That's industrial light beer with premium-priced marketing. Number 6. Budweiser. Budweiser calls itself the king of beers. In Canada, it's brewed under license by Labatt, which means it comes from the same facilities producing Labatt Blue, and it carries all the same concerns, plus a few extras. Budweiser contains approximately 30% rice. Rice creates a lighter body and fewer flavor compounds. It's essentially diluting the beer to cut costs while charging premium prices. The rice used is genetically modified and sourced from farms using heavy pesticide applications. The famous beechwood aging that Budweiser markets so heavily, those beechwood chips are boiled in baking soda before used to reduce flavor contribution and used as a yeast conditioning surface area. It's pure marketing theater. It just sounds premium in commercials. Laboratory analysis of Budweiser has found glyphosate levels among the highest for major beer brands. Testing revealed levels around 27 parts per billion. While regulatory agencies claim these levels are within safety limits, the World Health Organization and independent researchers have raised serious concerns about cumulative exposure and long-term health effects. Budweiser's aluminum cans contain the same BPA-lined interiors found across the industry. Studies have shown that BPA exposure is associated with obesity, cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, and reproductive problems. For a beer marketed as king, you're getting pesticide contamination, hormone disruptors, fake wood aging, and 30% rice. Number 5. Corona Extra. Corona Extra sells Beach Party Dreams with its iconic clear bottle and lime wedge. But that image masks serious ingredient problems specific to imported Mexican beer. Corona Extra contains GMO corn syrup to provide fermentable sugars absent from traditional brewing. It's purely for cost reduction, not quality. Laboratory testing in recent years has revealed concerning glyphosate levels in Corona, among the highest detected in imported beers. Multiple studies have linked glyphosate exposure to non-Hodgkin lymphoma, with juries awarding billions of dollars in damages to victims. The clear bottle allows light penetration, which degrades beer quality and creates off flavors through a process called skunking. To compensate, Corona adds extra preservatives and stabilizers to what should be a simple beverage. The lime wedge tradition, it started because the beer's flavor needed masking. That's not authentic Mexican culture, that's damage control for bland industrial lager. Corona also contains modified food starch from corn to improve head retention and high fructose corn syrup to balance flavors lost during mass production. These are additives that craft brewers would never use. For Canadians paying import prices at the LCBO, you're getting GMO ingredients, cancer-linked herbicide contamination, synthetic preservatives, and a product that degrades in its own packaging. That beach fantasy costs you more than money. Number 4. Stella Artois. Stella Artois positions itself as sophisticated Belgian lager, premium pricing, European heritage, the chalice glass presentation. But your Stella comes from the same Labatt facilities in Canada as the budget brands. Here's what really matters. Stella contains corn as an adjunct that traditional Belgian brewers would reject completely. The use of cheap grains instead of quality malted barley is industrial cost-cutting disguised as European sophistication. Stella has been systematically weakening its alcohol content. The original Belgian Stella Artois is 5.2% ABV. The Canadian version has been reduced to around 5.0% in some markets. You're paying premium prices for a weaker product than European consumers receive, brewed in Canada with cost-saving adjuncts. Like other Labatt-produced beers, Stella contains isinglass from fish swim bladders for clarification, undisclosed on Canadian labels. It also uses Class 4 caramel coloring linked to 4-MEI formation. Laboratory testing has detected glyphosate contamination in Stella Artois from pesticide-treated barley and corn. The aluminum cans feature BPA-lined interiors that can leach hormone-disrupting chemicals, especially when stored improperly. For beer marketed as Belgian premium tradition, you're drinking Canadian-made lager with corn adjuncts, fish derivatives, cancer-linked additives, pesticide traces, and hormone disruptors. That's marketing excellence hiding brewing compromises. Number 3. Moosehead Lager. This one hurts because Moosehead is Canada's oldest independent brewery, family-owned since 1867. The heritage is real. But modern production has embraced industrial shortcuts. Moosehead Lager contains adjunct grains including corn to reduce costs. Testing has indicated the presence of glyphosate residue from contaminated barley and corn, consistent with findings across major Canadian lagers. The beer uses hop extract rather than whole hops, eliminating beneficial natural compounds. Moosehead also employs isinglass for clarification without disclosure, making it unsuitable for vegetarians, vegans, and those with fish allergies who consume it unknowingly. What's particularly concerning is that Moosehead has expanded production to meet growing demand, and with that expansion has come the adoption of cost-saving measures common across industrial brewing. The independent family ownership remains, but the brewing practices increasingly resemble corporate competitors. The aluminum cans contain BPA-lined interiors. As with other canned beers, the risk of hormone-disrupting chemical exposure increases with temperature and time. For a brewery that markets Canadian independence and 155 years of tradition, the modern reality includes corn adjuncts, synthetic hop extracts, fish derivatives, pesticide contamination, and hormone-disrupting packaging. Heritage branding doesn't guarantee heritage brewing. Number 2. Rickard's Red. Rickard's Red presents itself as craft-style amber ale with character and complexity. It's actually brewed by Molson Coors and follows the same industrial formula as their mainstream lagers. The beer contains corn syrup and adjunct grains that create the appearance of amber ale character without using the quantity of specialty malts that authentic amber ales require. This is cost optimization masquerading as craft brewing. Rickard's Red uses caramel coloring extensively to achieve its signature amber appearance. This class 3 and 4 coloring can contain 4-MEI from ammonia processing. The color you're seeing isn't primarily from carefully selected malts, it's from industrial coloring agents. Laboratory testing would likely show similar glyphosate contamination found in other Molson Coors products. The use of hop extract instead of whole hops eliminates natural beneficial compounds. Like all Molson Coors canned products, Rickard's Red comes with BPA-lined aluminum exposing you to endocrine-disrupting chemicals with every drink. What makes Rickard's particularly deceptive is the craft-style branding. The label design, the story of brewing tradition, the positioning as something more interesting than standard lager. But it's the same industrial brewing as Molson Canadian, just with added coloring and marketing. You're paying craft prices for industrial brewing with corn syrup, synthetic additives, and hormone disruptors. Number 1. Keith's India Pale Ale, taking the top spot as the worst beer you can buy in Canada. Alexander Keith's IPA. This represents perhaps the most misleading beer name in the entire country. Here's the truth, Keith's IPA is not an India Pale Ale, it's a standard pale ale with industrial shortcuts throughout, brewed by Labatt and marketed on false heritage. Traditional IPAs are defined by generous whole hop additions creating bold hop character. Keith's uses hop extract, giving you chemical bitterness without the beneficial oils, antioxidants, and anti-inflammatory properties of real hops. The IPA name trades cynically on brewing history while delivering nothing close to authentic IPA character. Keith's contains adjunct grains including corn, reducing costs while maintaining the appearance of traditional brewing. These aren't heritage ingredients from 200 years of Nova Scotia brewing tradition, they're modern corporate compromises prioritizing profit. The beer includes caramel coloring to achieve its golden appearance rather than color naturally through malt selection. It uses isinglass for clarification, fish bladder derivatives carrying no labeling for people with allergies or dietary restrictions. Testing would show glyphosate herbicide contamination from pesticide-treated barley and corn. The aluminum cans contain BPA-lined interiors linked to obesity, diabetes, reproductive problems, and cancer. What's most frustrating, Alexander Keith's has brewed since 1820, over 200 years of Nova Scotia tradition. Yet the modern product abandons everything that heritage represented. The IPA name is a betrayal of brewing history. You're drinking industrial lager disguised as India Pale Ale with corn adjuncts, cancer-linked coloring, pesticide contamination, and hormone-disrupting packaging. It's not just misleading marketing, it's an outright insult to Canadian brewing heritage. Now here's hope: 2 Canadian breweries doing it right. After exposing those 9 chemical offenders, here's proof that Canadian beer can be brewed properly with real ingredients and zero compromises. Number 2. Mill Street Brewery Organic Lager. Mill Street, now part of Labatt, but maintaining its craft brewing standards, produces an organic lager that shows what's possible when you refuse to cut corners. The beer is certified organic by a recognized third-party certification body. That means verified organic barley and hops grown without synthetic pesticides, herbicides, or GMO seeds. No glyphosate contamination, no chemical residues, just clean ingredients. Mill Street Organic uses whole hops, never extracts. You're getting natural antioxidants and beneficial compounds that industrial processing destroys. The beer contains only 4 ingredients: organic barley malt, organic hops, water, and yeast. Nothing synthetic, nothing hidden. The organic certification provides complete transparency. When a brewery submits to third-party verification, you know exactly what you're drinking. For Canadians wanting clean lager without gambling on hidden additives or pesticide contamination, Mill Street Organic delivers authentic quality. Number 1. Beau's All Natural Brewing Company. Taking the top spot as the best beer you can drink in Canada, Beau's All Natural from Vankleek Hill, Ontario. Beau's is certified organic across their entire lineup. Every beer contains only organic malted barley, organic hops, water, and yeast. Zero adjuncts, zero corn, zero synthetic additives, zero compromises. The brewery is also a certified B Corporation, meeting rigorous standards for environmental and social responsibility. That commitment extends throughout their operations and supply chain. Beau's uses whole leaf organic hops from verified farms. You're getting complete beneficial compounds, including antioxidants and anti-inflammatory properties that hop extracts eliminate. Independent testing confirms zero glyphosate contamination, zero pesticide residue, zero synthetic additives. The brewery has been employee-owned since 2020, with workers having direct ownership stake in maintaining quality. When the people brewing your beer also own the company, they have every incentive to protect standards. Beau's maintains extraordinary transparency, publishing complete ingredient sourcing, including specific hop varieties, malt origins, and brewing methods. That openness would expose any cost cutting, which is exactly why industrial brewers avoid it. For beer drinkers who want authentic Canadian craft brewing with zero hidden ingredients, zero pesticide contamination, and zero hormone-disrupting packaging, Beau's All Natural represents everything those 9 brands should be but aren't. That's it. 9 major Canadian beer brands cut corners with corn syrup, GMO adjuncts, synthetic additives, and pesticide-contaminated ingredients while charging you premium prices. They hide fish derivatives, cancer-linked coloring agents, and hormone disruptors behind heritage marketing and patriotic branding. But now you know the truth, and you can choose differently. Which brand on this list shocked you the most? Drop your answer in the comments. Share this with anyone who deserves to know what's really in their beer. And if you want to see more videos exposing what Canadian companies don't want you to know, make sure you're subscribed to North America Crisis Radar. Thanks for watching.